Well, now, where the Steelers and the football world, frankly, are waiting for a decision from Aaron Rodgers. Right now, Pittsburgh's quarterback room consists of Skylar Thompson, rookie Will Howard, and QB1 Mason Rudolph. And time is ticking. Mandatory minicamp starts in 3 weeks. So when will we have a decision on Aaron Rodgers? Well, let's bring in NFL insider Jeremy Fowler and NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck now. And Jeremy, I'm going to start with you. What is the latest surrounding Aaron Rodgers and whether or not he's even going to play football this upcoming season?
Well, Shay, people I've checked with say the Steelers remain optimistic here. They have been in touch with Aaron Rodgers, but that there's still no hard and fast update. Clearly, the Steelers are respecting Aaron Rodgers' time. He had alluded in the past on the Pat McAfee show that he had some issues in his inner circle that he wanted to work out. So the Steelers acknowledge that and are aware of those type of situations. So they have May 27th OTAs starting. They would love him there. That gives him 3 weeks to potentially sign there and work out. Now, if we're playing conspiracy theory, as some around the league do, I've checked with some teams who wonder, like, hey, is he waiting on the Minnesota Vikings here? You know, where he would play 9 dome games per season, would have Justin Jefferson, Kevin O'Connell, one of the best play callers in the league. But even checking on that, the Vikings have sort of moved on. They're all in on J.J. McCarthy, so that seems unlikely. It does feel right now like it's Pittsburgh or bust.
Okay, Pittsburgh or bust. Tim Hasselbeck, I ask you, do you expect Aaron Rodgers then to be a Pittsburgh Steelers here in the coming week?
I do. You know, a lot of it is, what Jeremy just talked about in terms of is Aaron Rodgers, thinking about maybe a better situation. So, like, that tells me Aaron Rodgers is thinking about playing football. Aaron Rodgers is also throwing in the offseason. Aaron Rodgers doing those things that, quite honestly, 40-year-old quarterbacks don't do unless they're planning on playing. So, between that, the contact with the Steelers, the mutual interest, I think it ultimately ends up happening. I think it's one of the reasons the Steelers have approached the offseason the way that they have. And when you look at their current roster, as we kind of started this segment of who they have, they definitely are planning on going into the season with somebody else in the quarterback room, and that somebody else would be Aaron Rodgers.
I agree with you. You mentioned him throwing in the offseason. Who is he throwing to? Well, someone named DK Metcalf, who now is a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course. In other skill player news, just moments ago, Ravens running back Derrick Henry spoke to the media. Let's hear what he had to say.
Coming off the season I had, I wasn't really happy, and I wanted to prove myself and just get an opportunity, and they gave me that opportunity, and I'm very appreciative of how much they value me to give me an extension. I just want to show them how much it means to me, how much this organization means to me by the way I work and what I do on the field. Accomplished winning the division, got into the playoffs, but ultimately we came up short. So it's a lot of fuel that should go into this season. Guys should be motivated. I'm motivated and hungry to get ready for the next one.
I see that Prada shirt over there on one Derrick Henry because he just signed a 2-year, $30 million extension, so he can afford shirts like that. Jeremy, what do you think about how Baltimore is going to ultimately use Henry coming into this season?
Well, I'm told that the Baltimore Ravens fully expect Henry to resume his normal workload. They believe he has at least 2 years of prime performance left. That's why they signed him to this deal. He's now under contract for the next 3 years. So last year he averaged about 19 carries per game. I was told from somebody with the team that he could certainly hit or surpass that and have no problem doing so because of the way he keeps himself in shape and how hungry he is. The only thing that could affect that number is they really like Justice Hill, their backup running back. They also like Keaton Mitchell in the fold, Rasheen Ali. So they have a big backfield that they want to get involved, but Henry will remain the bell cow here, no question.
Which he should, right? Tim, what are your expectations for the Ravens offense this season?
I expect them to be awesome. And look, I think that, the Ravens are in dangerous territory. Investing in an older running back, it typically doesn't work, but every now and then a guy is different. And look, Adrian Peterson was different. I think people agree that Derrick Henry is different. And so I understand it from that perspective, but bigger than Derrick Henry signing is the fact that Lamar Jackson threw 41 touchdown passes last year. Like Lamar Jackson, who people talked about as, well, he's got to develop as a passer. He's done it. He's developed as a passer, and the running hasn't gone away. I think that, look, he's put himself in a situation where, look, you can argue, is it Patrick Mahomes, is it Josh Allen, is it Lamar Jackson, who's the best quarterback in the game? That's fine. You can argue that stuff. But the reality is Lamar Jackson's as good as anybody playing the quarterback position right now. And then the development that's happened, especially under Tom Bakken as their offensive coordinator, to build on that with the way he's elevated the play of the guys around him, I expect Baltimore to be really good on offense, and it's because of number 8 for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, as long as he is under center and he is doing what he does with his feet and his arms, Baltimore and that offense is going to be dangerous. Tim and Jeremy, we appreciate you. Thank you. Let's go to the NFL owner meetings now. They'll get underway in Minneapolis tomorrow. There is talk about shifting playoff seeding from division winners to records, and our Mike Greenberg, well, he's fired up about it.
I have been arguing for this for 25 years. They're going to vote on redoing how they do the seeding in the playoffs. I am 100% in favor of this idea. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I like anything that makes the regular season more important.
And this would do just that. NFL insider Jeremy Fowler and NFL analyst Tim Masselbeck back with us now on SportsCenter. Jeremy, to you first. You'll be at the NFL owner meetings this week, actually as early as tomorrow in Minneapolis. Greeny obviously very fired up about the potential of playoff reseeding. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, Shay, I hate to disappoint Greeny, but from sources I've checked with today, it is considered a long shot for the playoff reseeding format to go through and eventually be changed. There are too many teams that value that division winner getting a high seed or a home game. But I've talked to enough executives around the league who do acknowledge a change needs to come eventually. Maybe this week's meetings will result in something down the road, but most likely it will be tabled at this point unless there's enough convincing to go around that this has to happen. But really the key here is that the change in the 18-game schedule that will probably inevitably happen in the league, whether that's 2028, 2030, whatever year that is, that will definitely spark more change for this. Teams I've talked to believe that they would have to create the lack of meaningless games late in the season. That's really been the issue and why the Detroit Lions have voted for this proposal. They don't want a situation where, like last year, Minnesota went 14-3 and has to play on the road. So enough teams acknowledge that is an issue. Maybe they can create down the road a differential where you can, work it out where division winners are still rewarded. But they feel like the language in this proposal right now probably isn't enough to go through.
Okay, but it is inevitable that maybe the NFL moves to 18 games. If it is adopted, meaning they do reseed for the playoffs, Tim, I'm going to you here. How would that affect the NFL postseason in your mind?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things like with this. I understand Greeny's point, but, in terms of, making every regular season game valuable, the divisions matter. Like, I was never on a team where when the coach, set out the goals for the season, he didn't say, number one is, like, our goal is we're going to try to win the division. Because if you win the division, you give yourself a chance and you give yourself an opportunity to host a playoff game. I just don't think it's a good idea to lose that.